Subscribe to.
Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chakurash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. A sincere shalom to the hopeful like this out there listening, learning, and or teaching. Shalom to you all. Right, so as you can see right there, the United States and Venezuela are getting ready to go to war, man. All right, under this cruel Lord, Donald Nero Trump. As you can see, man. All right, so prophecy is speeding up. Okay, I got a precept. All right, about this thing that's going on with this war. All right, this is Matthew 24 and verse 7. Or let's start with verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. All right, because we know ultimately, the end, right? The Third World War going nuclear and America being destroyed by thermonuclear destruction, that cannot happen until the MOTB has been mandated for buying and selling. All right, which we know that is the chip that goes in the hand or the chip that goes in the brain. You got Neuralink, Synchron, so on and so forth. Okay, but with that being said, we got some precepts, We're just going to jump right into it. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. And that's speaking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Because he has a perverse spirit. It says, but the just shall live by his faith, right? And we have to live by faith, man. We work in all these jobs, we can barely afford rent. Most of us are living in hoods, okay? And if we're not, we're definitely got a budget on money, okay? And so at any time, we could end up in a bad spot. So, we live in by faith, man. We don't own these different franchises. We don't own a bunch of land and shit like that makes life easy, like these Edomites out here, okay? Verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, right? That's them nasty philosophies that he's pushing on the world, okay? He is a proud man, right? Esau, the so-called white man, okay? These people are proud as all hell. You can see by the way Trump's attitude is, okay? And just these Edomites in general. It says, neither keepeth at home, right? Because this man has military bases all over the world. He's getting into conflicts worldwide. Now here he is, sending one submarine and 7 warships to Venezuela, okay, accusing them of being T-words, right? Which, it's the same excuse every country he attacks, like you had with 9/11, okay, which I believe that was orchestrated. So they could what? So they could go over there to the Middle East and pretend to fight a war. So they could do what? So they could steal resources. They do this with every country they steal resources from, man. Okay? Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Right? Because America has all these resources, oil, all these different plants and fruits, and all types of resources, man. But what do? They go to other countries and steal their resources. You see, it says, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Because they wanna enslave all people ultimately through that NWO. Okay, by putting that chip in your hand or in your brain, so you can't buy or sell unless you live according to their way of life to the fullest extent, man. Because once they got that chip in you, all right, that's it. All right, you are now a complete robot of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. But yeah, man, these devils are guilty, man, and the Lord is going to make it so that all these different nations get together and attack this place. Okay, look at this. Is Venezuela an ally of Russia? Yes, Venezuela and Russia are strategic allies that have strengthened their relationship by providing mutual support against U.S. pressure, with Russia offering economic aid, military equipment, and diplomatic backing to the Venezuelan government, and Venezuela providing diplomatic support for Russia on the global stage. This partnership helps maintain the Venezuelan government's stability and allows Russia to expand its influence in Latin America. You see? So just like America was giving weapons and aid to Ukraine, Russia is very likely going to be giving weapons and aid to Venezuela, man. You see? All these different wars are spicing up, man, leading up to that third woe. Like the scriptures say, the second woe is past. Behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right? That word woe going into sorrow, destruction. Okay, that's talking about the first, Salakia, the second woe, which is the Second World War, and the third woe, which is the Third World War. That's the war to end all wars, man. That's the war where Yahushua is going to show up in the midst and deliver his elect out of Babylon and out of all these nations we are scattered, man. All right, this is Sirach chapter 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by the seat. Right? That's how he gets his riches, man. Okay? Acting like he's the big savior of the world, but then he goes and just steals resources, grapes, robs, and murders. Okay? Just like he did with the so-called Native American Indians, the so-called Mexicans, the so-called Seminole Indians here in America, which had this land to ourselves, and then this devil comes by. We teach him how to live here, and then he turns around and puts us in slavery, damn near genocides us. Okay, then he grabs the Negroes over there from Africa and puts them in slavery over here. Never gave them any reparations, you see? Okay, you had the Spanish conquest of the other, these Caribbean islands, Latin America, right? The Spanish conquest, which destroyed the so-called Hispanic tribes, man. Okay, and then now you got Esau robbing all these other nations, taking advantage of them. Just the regular heathen nations, man. You see, this devil he needs to be taken out of power. Destroying the whole world just to fill his pockets for a few dollars more, like I always say, man. Destroys the whole world. The very air he breathes, the very water he has to drink, he's poisoning it with these different chemicals from these different corporations. Because they want to cut corners just to make a shit ton of money real fast, but at everybody's expense. Now everybody in the world has microplastics in their brain because of all the fucking plastic bottles, and it's just a mess. Okay, but like it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. That's right. And what's going to happen is America is going to get into war with Venezuela. More than likely, Russia's going to step in. Eventually, things are going to spice up on both ends. Maybe a few more wars pop up here and there, but ultimately, it's going to cause that third world war, man. And that's where it's all going to. All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, which Babylon is America. Another word for Babylon is confusion. Okay, and this is the land of confusion, where up is down and down is up, where a man is a woman and a woman is a man. All right, and you can do whatever you want except for the right thing. You want to follow these scriptures and live like the Lord, you're going to be hated. You're going to be hated of the Lord for his sake, man. Or Salaki, you're going to be hated by this world for the Lord's sake. Okay? But yeah, man, this is America is Babylon. Okay? It says, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. What's that north country that's leading this assembly of nations? Russia. That's going to be the power that leads this fight against America, and ultimately they're going to take it down. It says, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. See, America's going to get taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. These arrows are indicative of the different nuclear missiles that are going to be shot over here into America. All right, but soon in Revelation chapter 9, 200 million warheads are going to touch down here. So that's a lot of missiles that's going to be shot, and even more warheads that are inside the missiles, which will be released, okay, causing that this place to be burned with fire utterly. Okay, so that's what's going to end Esau Edom's empire. Okay, his rulership of the earth is going to end in Third World War, in thermonuclear destruction, man, after he mandates the mark of the beast for buying and selling. That's when the Lord shortly thereafter will cause these nations to come up against her. And as these missiles are being shot, okay, that's where the Lord will be delivering his elect from the four corners of the earth. Okay, let's go to Matthew 24. All right, this is verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, right? Because we're going to be going through Jacob's trouble. That's that tribulation, man. Okay, the hour of temptation, okay, where we're really going to have extreme faith in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai for the Lord to protect us and keep us, man, because we won't be able to buy and sell for a little while. Okay, and on top of that, there's not going to be any jobs. There's not going to be any business as usual. It's just going to be all out chaos and war. Okay, it says of those days, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, right? Because that's that giant fathership from Yahushai is going to cover the whole sky, and the sun and the moon and the stars, you won't be able to see them. Okay, it says the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, right? So those stars that he's describing in this vision, okay, is talking about these nuclear missiles, okay, because you can imagine the chariot of Yahushai is covering the sky, okay, and the sun and the moon, you can't see them. How come you can see the stars? Because those are actually these little lights you're going to see in the sky are actually these nuclear missiles that are coming here to America to destroy the place. All right, it says, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. That's the so-called UFOs of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. You see? So that's how our salvation is going to be. Okay, the so-called UFOs, the giant fathership of Yahushua covering the sky, while these nuclear missiles are touching down, we're getting beamed up. Lord's will, we be of the elect. All right? Verse 32, it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. You see, so when all these different wars, rumors of wars, all hell breaking loose or getting ready to break loose, that's when you should say, okay, it's at the door. The coming of Yahushai is literally at the door, man. Okay, you can read Matthew 24 and it goes into, these different wars, rumors of wars, false prophets, which we're seeing all these things already. Okay, that's why the scriptures say pray and watch that you don't fall into temptation, man, because the hour of temptation is upon us, man. Trump just made that deal with crypto.com, and you can read it. You can go on the crypto.com app and read, or even on their website, I believe. There's like this big article that talks about how it wants to get together with the U.S. Treasury, something along those lines. Okay, so their crypto may end up being that digital currency that is used for the chip. Okay, we don't know, but all these things are falling in line. Okay, the US currency going digital, more wars, okay, tensions between America and Russia escalating. All right, so Jacob's trouble looming. All right, you got those military being set up in DC. Everything is coming together the way the scripture said, man. So yeah, stay prayed up, Yasharallah, keeping the faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I pray you all endure to the end. With that, I want to finish by giving all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakurash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And shalom to the hopeful like shalom wa. Abad babal shalom.